My name is Zahid Makhdoom, and I am your very humble servant for the next couple of hours. I currently sit as president of Dr. Hari Sharma Foundation, that is instrumental in organizing this particular event. I would first of all acknowledge how beautiful you all are and how beautiful you all look, and how beautiful your effort has been in showing up here in solidarity with us. I would like to acknowledge that I'm able to speak with you due to the generosity and kindness of the Semiamu and Katsi and Quikwetlam and Kwantland and Kekwat and Tawasan First Nations. The land belonged to them. It is unceded, and it has been occupied by a settler colonial outfit called British Columbia. And I'm very grateful to be able to relate to you and communicate with you through this particular forum. Hari Sharma Foundation has been serving you since 2012. It's a foundation that was created as a consequence of an endowment that our old comrade, brother, and friend, Dr. Hari Sharma, left for us. And we, the board of Dr. Hari Sharma Foundation, since that time have been doing our best to use Hari's legacy in a manner that would be consistent with the needs of our community here, with the needs of our community down in South Asia. So very, very grateful to you for coming. This is the event we celebrate annually, first and foremost, to celebrate British Columbia, South Asian community gaining right to vote about 75, 78, some years ago. Before that, we were part of the Dominion, but we were not citizens. We were simply third, fourth class type of entities with no right to vote. And come today, when we go to Victoria and we visit our House of Parliament or legislature, we see a South Asian fellow presiding there. We see a whole lot of South Asian faces, beautiful faces like that of Amina Shah, who is here gracing the occasion. She is an MLA from Surrey Centre, and she is parliamentary secretary for mental health and addiction issues. And can you imagine a provincial government that has capacity and ability and even commitment to causes like mental health, to causes like anti-racism? We are very privileged to be in this province, to tell you the truth, and very grateful to be in this province. There are, of course, places in Canada where they are vying to become 51st state of a juggernaut down south. But we are not. So I would like to humbly acknowledge the presence of Sister Amina Shah and Mr. Gary Begg. He is MLA from Surrey Guildford. He is also Solicitor General. So if you guys drink too much wine tonight, don't drive, otherwise Gary will come behind you. and he's tough. I was chatting with him, and he says that he has a significant law enforcement experience, and he can pick out from all of us sitting here and imbibing that little hooch to avoid doing that. We are also grateful to some MLAs who had said that they will be here. Unfortunately, some of them are not yet here. Jagrup Barar, he had said that he'll be here. Jessie Sunner had indicated that she'll be here. Sunita Deer is here. We are very grateful to Sister Sunita, who reached out to us yesterday. And she is from Vancouver, Langara. Also, she's a parliamentary secretary for international credentials. I think that is where all these foreign student stuff is happening. And Sister Sunita has in her charge the interests of those foreign students amongst us who have come from faraway places like Punjab to pursue higher education in this province, and we are very grateful to them for coming here. But then there were issues with credentialing that Sister Sunita is taking care of, and we are very grateful to you. I also would like to, before we move any further, to acknowledge some of the beautiful colleagues who have stayed with us, who have been with us, who have supported us, and who have furthered this cause of solidarity for years and years and for decades. People, friends and comrades like Liz Breamberg, whose beautiful, handsome husband, Mordecai Breamberg, left us a few years ago. And we have a huge gap and a hole in our heart, missing Brother Mordecai and his incredible activism that he engaged in this community to support a community of people which is long forgotten and which is the current flavor that is to be snubbed and crushed and massacred and genocided. Mordecai was the first person to create Canada-Palestine Association, created a Palestine Hall in this city long time ago, before some of us were even born. Would like to also acknowledge Brother Sid Schneider. He is an old comrade, old friend, a Marxist brother. He's not old, I mean, but his association is old with us. Okay, happy now? He's young. And that's said as a very active in a Jewish Voices for Peace. And Independent Jewish Voices for Peace. Thank you very much. And as you know, that he is not the person who will keep his mouth shut. If need be, he will say what is to be said and what is important to be said. Would like to also welcome friends from Share Vancouver, from BC Labour Heritage Center. Natasha is here, I hear. And Robert is, I haven't yet seen him. Oh, there he is, the handsome Robert. Robert is the heart and soul of a West Coast Committee Against Racism. This was the committee that was somehow other created by our beloved brother, our former president of Sharma Foundation, Dr. Chin Banerjee. From his deathbed, he created that committee, and we are very grateful to Brother Robert for taking up the mantle. And whenever there is a good demonstration in town, you will see Brother Robert with a banner proclaiming the engagement of our group, our West Coast Committee Against Racism, in favor of that cause. So very, very grateful to you, brother. Now, before I say anything else, I just was lucky enough the other day, I was walking and I saw in an independent bookstore a book by Omar Al-Akkad, a Canadian writer whose novel, maybe a year or two ago, was part of the Giller Prize deal. And there is one very short paragraph that I would like to read it to you for your edification and for your thought. He says, and I quote, "One day, when it is safe, when there is no personal downside to calling a thing what it is, when it is too late to hold anyone accountable, everyone will have always been against this." And just think that. Just think the breadth of that particular reflection that comes from a young writer from Toronto, Brother Omar Al-Akkad. I will also, before moving on to inviting the first person to come and tell us something, like to read you a small poem that was written in 2023. It was written by an intellectual, by a brother, a friend, Arafat Al-Arir. Sadly, we read this poem last year, around same time, and we thought we never would have to read it again. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. When there are entities in the world with the murder written in their desires, when murder is the fancy kind of outcome of their doings, these things become necessary. It's a poem by Rafat Al-Arir. He was a teacher who, believe it or not, taught in the Hebrew language. He was a poet, he was a reporter, and he was a pacifist. And he was hunted down and killed in cold blood in his sister's home. The poem goes like this: "If I must die, you must live to tell my story, to sell my things, to buy a piece of cloth and some strings, make it white with a long tail, so that a child somewhere in Gaza, while looking heaven in the eye, awaiting his dead who left in a blaze, and bid no one farewell, not even to his flesh, not even to himself, sees the kite, my kite, you made, flying up above, and thinks for a moment an angel is there, bringing back love, bringing back love. If I must die, let it bring hope. Let it be a tale. Thank you. Well, this brings me to invite my brother and friend and comrade, Dr. Ramana, to come, and Sister Preeti Narayan, both from UBC, to come and help us through another poem of the evening. Thank you.
I'm happy to hold it, I think. I'm going to read Mahmood Darwish's poem, The Passport, which was published in 1964. They did not recognize me in the shadows that suck away my color in this passport. And to them, my wound was an exhibit for a tourist who loves to collect photographs. They did not recognize me. Ah, don't leave. The palm on my hand without the sun, because the trees recognize me. All the songs of the rain recognize me. Don't leave me pale like the moon. All the birds that followed my palm to the door of that distant airport, all the wheat fields, all the prisons, all the white tombstones, all the barbed boundaries, all the waving handkerchiefs, all the eyes were with me, but they dropped them from my passport. Stripped of my name and identity, on a soil I nourished with my own hands, today Jacob cried out, filling the sky, "Don't make an example of me again." O gentlemen, prophets, don't ask the trees for their names. Don't ask the valleys who their mother is. From my forehead bursts the sword of light, and from my hand springs the water of the river. All the hearts of the people are my identity, so take away my passport.
Thank you, Preeti. I'm going to read a poem by a poet called Noor Hindi, a Palestinian-American poet who has published her debut collection of poems called Dear God, Dear Bones, Dear Yellow in 2022. She's been an ardent advocate of the liberation of Palestine, Palestinians, and the liberation of all those oppressed people. This is a poem of her reminder about the condition of Palestinian children and men and women. And the poem is called F.K, Your Lecture on Craft. And given the conditions we are in, I'm going to say the word aloud. Fuck your lecture on craft. Colonizers write about flowers. I tell you about children throwing rocks at Israeli tanks seconds before becoming daisies. I want to be like those poets who care about the moon. Palestinians don't see the moon from jail cells and prisons. It's so beautiful, the moon. They are so beautiful, the flowers. I pick flowers for my dead father when I'm sad. He watches Al Jazeera all day. I wish Jessica would stop texting me Happy Ramadan. I know I'm American because when I walk into a room, something dies. Metaphors about death are for poets who think ghosts care about sound. When I die, I promise to haunt you forever. One day, I'll write about the flowers like we own them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Preeti and Brother Ramana. I would like to, first of all, acknowledge the beautiful presence of this brother who has been in the struggle with us, one of the leaders of our struggle here against racism, for justice, for inclusiveness, for equality. is a great Punjabi language intellectual and a comrade and a friend, Brother Sukhwant Hundal, to come and tell us about the voting.
Hello. So we are gathered here to commemorate the memory of 2nd April 1947. That was the day when the South Asian community in Canada won the right to vote. Our elders struggled for 40 years, from 1907 to 1947, to win back this right. And they felt that the day of victory would be written in golden letters in the history of the South Asian community in Canada. So they said, April 2nd will always remain a red letter day in the history of our community, as the day which brought us political freedom and equality with the Canadian citizens under dominion and provincial law. So I'm going to tell you briefly about this struggle. The information that I'm going to share with you is based on an article which my friend Sadhu Bening and I wrote a few years ago. So first of all, how this right was taken away and when it was taken away. When people from India, from the Indian subcontinent started to come here, you can call them, Indians, Punjabis, South Asian, whatever identity you want to give them. So they had the right to vote in Canada because they were British subjects. But this right was taken away in March 1907 at the provincial level. Then in 1908, their right to vote in municipal level was taken away. And at that time, the law of Canada was that only people who can vote at the provincial level, they could vote in the federal level. So automatically, they were not able to vote in the federal election because they were not able to vote here in BC. So that was when the right was taken away. And the reason, I think the main reason behind it was the racism. And I think the ruler of that time, they wanted to keep this country a white man's country. And you can see it from if you go through the proceedings of the House or of the Parliament, you can see this feeling expressed time and time again. So on March 26, 1907, when this right was taken away, at that time, the Interior Minister of BC, Mr. W.H. Bowser, of the Conservative government at that time, he said, I regret exceedingly that the federal government has taken a very strong stand in regard to a legislation of this character. But I ask the Liberals of the House to break away from the party alliance in this and keep British Columbia a white man's country to the extent that is in power. So whenever this issue came in the House, legislature of BC or Parliament of Canada, you will find that this kind of sentiment expressed at that time. So, for example, in 1923, this issue was raised in the Parliament of Canada, and one of the MP from BC Caribou, Mr. McBride, said, "We in British Columbia want no more Hindus. Never did I value Canada and the laws of Canada more highly than when a boatload of Hindus came from India to the port of Vancouver and was refused admittance to this country and sent back home by the previous government. I hope this government will maintain that stand. We have on the coast of British Columbia Chinamen and Japs running our stores. They are running the white people out. We have the Greeks, they are running our hotels, and we have the Jews running our second-hand stores. And now some people want to bring in the Hindus to run our mills. So that kind of feeling was expressed all the time. In 1923, one of the ministers in BC Assembly said, the Minister of Mines, Honorable William Salone, said in support of this resolution, so far as the franchise is concerned, we are mistress in our own house, and that we in British Columbia stand for a white province. So that was the reason. They wanted to use racism to exclude people, non-whites. They wanted to control the economy and the politics of Canada, and they wanted to keep it in the hands of the white people. So when this right was taken away, it affected the South Asian community in a number of ways. First of all, as it is obvious that because this right was taken away from our elders, so they could not participate in the politics of Canada and British Columbia. They could not vote, they could not run for office, all these kind of things. And secondly, there were many restrictions placed on, due to the lack of this right, there were many restrictions placed on the Indian community at that time. They were not allowed to sit on jury. They were not allowed to work with the contractors of Public Works Department. They could not become lawyers, pharmacists, trustees of the school boards, and so on. So in total, there were 26 restrictions of that kind. And thirdly, Canadian government used this fact to deny immigration to Indian people to Canada, because at that time, Canadian Immigration Act did not allow those people to come to this country who were not considered able to fulfill the duties of a citizen. So these kind of effects, that's how this lack of right affected Indo-Canadian community. So immediately after this law was passed and this right was taken away, people from the Indian community, they started demanding this right because they were aware of the consequences of this not having this right, because they wanted to live in Canada as equal citizens of this country. They also wanted that their future generation should live in this country with respect and dignity. For example, and this view was expressed a number of times, time and time again. For example, in March 1943, a delegation of the Indian community met Premier John Hart of British Columbia, and they presented a brief to the Premier. So during this meeting, the Secretary of Khalsa Diwan Society, Vancouver, Naginder Singh Gill, read from the brief. We have tried consciously to fulfill the duties and responsibility of citizenship, but we have been denied the democratic rights of that citizenship. We contend that the denial of these rights is without justification in logic or reason. We are people of an old and democratic tradition. We believe in and are prepared to fight for principles and liberties of democracy. We want our children to grow up as good Canadians and responsible citizens. So first step to challenge this lack of this right happened in 1911 when Hassan Rahim, he voted in municipal election, and his contention was that because he was a British subject, so therefore he had the right to vote. But according to, in the eyes of the law, it was it was illegal, it was a crime. So as a result, he was put on trial, but that he was acquitted in that trial. So after that, after 1911, the struggle to get the right to vote continued regularly, and the people at that time, there were so many setbacks. They faced challenges, failures, but they did not stop fighting until success was achieved. So if we want to keep in our mind that the struggle for this right come to peak in between 1942 and 1947. And at that time, there were only 1,100 to 1,400 people of Indian origins in Canada. So very small community. So if we keep that in mind that, that very small community continued their struggle against all the odds, then the significance of this struggle become more important. So during these years, for 40 years, the argument which were presented by the Indian community were in order to get the right to vote was that, they were British subjects and therefore they should have the right to vote. And second, they had shed blood for the British Empire, that they fought wars for the British Empire. So that argument was also made. And also whenever there was a delegation from the community who went to see a representative of the government, they would always include, that delegation would always include some people who served in the British Army. And in Second World War, during the Second World War, some people from our community, they received letters to do the forced military service for the for Canada. So that made a community very angry because they felt that they were not given the right to vote, but they were expected to fight for this country. But at the same, there was a big protest from the Indian community at that time. But at the same time, they understood the reality of the situation, and they wanted to exploit this issue. So they said, they were making this argument that, okay, we are willing to fight for Canada, but Canada should give us right to vote. So in 1942, the Khalsa Diwan Society sent a petition to the Canadian government in which they argued that Indian people were loyal to Canada and, if necessary, were willing to sacrifice their lives for the country. However, they felt that if they were being asked to perform the duties of the British subjects, then they should be given the rights of British subjects. So that was another argument. And one thing to note here is that the few people from the Indo-Canadian community who received this letter for military service, Darshan Singh Canadian, at that time he was known as Darshan Singh Sangra, he was one of the person who received this letter, and later on he became organizer for IWA, International Woodworkers of America. So he was one of the member of the Indian community at that time who received this letter. The other argument Indian community made at that time that, if Canadian government gave them right to vote here, that would help British Empire in India, that would to calm the political turmoil in India. And remember in 1942 and 1943, there was a big quit India agitation was going on in India. So they made this argument as well. And finally, the argument they made was that, we are living in Canada, we have make contribution to develop Canada, and we are paying taxes and all those kind of things. So these were some of the arguments which were made by the Indian community at that time. The peak, as I mentioned earlier, the struggle reached at its peak between 1942 and 1947. At that time, Indian community was able to get support from the larger community. The people from the mainstream community who supported this struggle belonged to socialist organizations, the trade union movement, the CCF party, the Labour Progressive Party, churches, teachers association, and many other prominent Canadians of that time also helped the community. The support from the CCF party and the trade union movement was very important. And as a report by Khalsa Diwan Society tells us, this report was published in 1947 by Khalsa Diwan Society, Victoria. So in that report, they say, although we continue to agitate for revision for the franchise law in our favor, it never again became a live issue until the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation, a socialist party, adopted it as one of the main issues in their program to remove racial discrimination. So that's how they acknowledge the role played by CCF and now the NDP. And there was a large support from the labor movement. Harold Pritchett, at that time the president of the District Number 1 of the International Woodworkers of America, was fully involved in this struggle. He was a member of various delegations from the Indian community who met with the government of BC in regard to this right. In November 1944, Harold Pritchett came to the Gurdwara in Vancouver and he said, the East Indian people have the backing of the entire labor movement in their struggle for this franchise. And there were other trade unions. If you look through the newspapers of that time, you will find, like 1940, 1945, you will find that every week there is a kind of a statement from a trade union movement, some trade union or a resolution passed by trade union, which in favor of the right to get vote for the Indian community. Some of the unions at that time which expressed their support were IWA, the Dock and Shipyard Workers Union, Civic Employees Union, National Union of Operating Engineers of Local Number 3, United Oil Workers Union, Local Number 1, IWA Mission Local, United Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners, Local 452, Mill and Smelters Workers, Local 693, National Union of Machinists, Pile Drivers Union. So these kind of, you can see in the newspaper of that time that there you will find every week there is some union coming to support. So there was many reasons that the support was given. First, because this was the time of Second World War and economy of BC was doing well, so white workers didn't feel threatened by non-white workers. And also, the Indian community has been here for more than 40 years, and they were able to kind of made connections with the larger community. And also at that time, under the leadership of Khalsa Diwan Society, Secretary Naginder Singh Gill, the Indian community made a very conscious effort to involve larger community in the fight. Because at that time they felt that this issue of Indian people not having the right to vote, it's not only their issue, it is the issue of the larger community as well. So they did it very consciously, approached them, and finally, because of Darshan Singh Sangra, who became later famous as Darshan Singh Canadian, because he was the organizer of IWA. He was organizing at that time. So all these factors, due to all these factors, they were able to get support from the larger community. And in addition to CCF and trade union organization, there were also support in the larger community as well. At that time, for example, the Vancouver News Herald and the Vancouver Daily Province wrote editorials in favor of Indian community. So, for example, on October 13, 1942, the editorial of the Vancouver Daily Province stated as follows. East Indians have been seeking the franchise in this province since 1908. If it is ever to be granted now, while it can be implied to great political advantage, is the right moment. So that kind of support existed in the larger community. So at that time, during the peak period of a number of time, the issue of franchise for the Indo-Canadian, for the Indian community came in the legislature. For example, in 1944, CCF member introduced the amendment to the BC Election Act so that right to vote was given to the Indian. But that amendment did not pass because the Speaker of the House at that time declared the amendment, the bill containing the amendment, out of order due to some technical issues. And a year later, in a session of BC legislature, March 15, 1945, another member of CCF again introduced a bill to amend the BC Election Act. But the bill failed to pass and was defeated only by 4 votes. So it was very close at that time. So when this bill failed to pass, so Indian community at that time, they were disappointed, they were hurt, but they did not lose heart. So they started working to get this law introduced or bill introduced in the next session. They started working on that. And finally, and the next election was happening in December 1945. So in October 1945, the Khalsa Diwan Society of Vancouver sent a circular to every candidate who was going to take part in this election. So a circular was sent to everyone. And in the circular, they stated, with the victorious conclusion of the war against Hitler fascism and Japanese aggression, we feel that democratic rights should be extended to all Canadian residents who are British subject and of East Indian origin, on a basis of full equality with all others. Many of our kinsmen died fighting in the recent war for these principles. So then, in this election, a Liberal-Conservative coalition won the BC election. So soon after their election, they formed an all-party committee in the Assembly to review the BC Election Act. And then soon, on November 7, 1946, this committee recommended that the right to vote should be granted to the Indian community and Japanese and Chinese people living in British Columbia. So as a result, the bill was passed, then later Bill 85, which gave the right to vote to the Indian, Japanese, and Chinese Canadian in BC. So that was the brief story about this thing. And I know it. The article which we wrote, it is about 1 hour long, so it's available online. If anybody wants to read it, they can read it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, really grateful to you, Brother Sukhwant-ji. As always, you taught us a lot. Very grateful to you. However, it's important to remember, while we are extolling the virtues of what happened that day, we should also remember what Emma Goldman said in 1940, that if voting changed anything, they will abolish it. So just remember that. I would like to now take this opportunity of inviting a beautiful brother, a very kind fellow, who is actually all the power behind everything that happens in Sharma Foundation. I'm just the president, and Sister Patricia is vice president. but this fellow does everything for us, for which we are very grateful to him. And I would like to invite Brother Harinder Mahel to come and tell us about a successful resolution of one of the longest held worker strikes in Canada, in British Columbia.
Thank you, Zahid. Most of you have heard about Radisson Blu. This is a hotel in Richmond that workers went on strike at in 2021, 4 years ago. Vast majority of the workers are immigrants. Whole lot of them from Indian community. Well, some of us went to the picket line back in 2021, hoping that the strike will end soon. This employer had made millions of dollars from the federal government because the hotel was rented as quarantine hotels. They laid off their staff, and after COVID would not hire them back. The workers went on strike, and the strike lasted 4 long years, the longest strike in the history of Canada. We have some workers here, and I want to introduce them. Would you please stand up? Pradeep Thandi, Kiran Dhaliwal, Gangaram Naidu, Gulzar Garewal, Michelle Travis, and Maninder. We salute you. We applaud you. You set an example for the rest of the workers, not only in British Columbia, in all of Canada. I must tell you that one of the workers worked there for 45 years. This was her first job, and she wanted to retire, and she was fired. And this is a victory not only to the union, not only to the workers, but the entire labor movement. And I'm, pleased that the labor movement helped them and were on the picket line with them and supported them. And, more power to Local 40 for continuing the strike for this long. Thank you. Thank you, sisters.
Thank you, Harinder ji. Very grateful to you. So before we start the award ceremony, there is one more item of business, and that is to honor our own local poet laureate, a comrade, a friend who taught us Punjabi literature, Punjabi history, taught us Punjabi language, and we are very grateful to him. He is our friend, our brother, our comrade, Dr. Sadhu Binning, and I will invite him to come and render a poem for all of us.
Thank you. I thought about what poem I should share with you when Harinder asked me to do this. Then I decided on one that many of you may have heard before, but this is the one that I thought I should share because this audience is probably the kind of audience that I should share this one with. And I'm going to read just a bit in Punjabi for myself because I won't feel happy if I didn't do that. And then I read the English one because most of you do understand English and I don't want to take too much time. The poem is about atheism. To be an atheist in English, nastak hona. just a word that a lot of things that we see around, not just in the US, but in India, in my view, have something to do with religion behind it. Capitalism and religion nowadays is together making life miserable. They want us to go back to the 17th century in a lot of these countries. So for me, it is an issue that we should go away from this ancient beliefs and become rational. So anyway, the poem in Punjabi is called Nastak Hona. Nastak Hona, ਅਣਦਿਸਤੀਆਂ ਸ਼ਕਤੀਆਂ ਜਾਂ ਨਰਕਾਂ ਸਵਰਗਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੋਂਦ ਤੋਂ ਨਾਬਰ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਗੱਲ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਖਤਮ ਨਹੀਂ। ਨਾਸਤਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਲੋਚ ਜੁੱਗਾਂ ਜੁੱਗਾਂ ਦੀ ਨੀਂਦੋ ਜਾਗਣਾ, ਅੰਗੜਾਈ ਲੈਣਾ ਤੇ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਜ਼ੀ ਨਜ਼ਰੇ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਨਾਸਤਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਅੰਦਾਜ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ਼ਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਮੁਹੱਬਤ ਦੇ ਨਵੇਂ ਨਗਮੇ ਸਿਰਜਣਾ, ਖੁਦ ਫੁੱਲ ਬਣ ਕੇ ਫੁੱਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੁੰਘਣਾ, ਮਹਿਕਾਂ ਖਿਲਾਰਨਾ। ਨਾਸਤਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਅਣਗਿਣਤ ਜੀਵਾਂ ਦਾ ਆਦਰ ਮਾਣ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ, ਜਾਨਵਰ ਤੋਂ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਤੱਕ ਦੇ ਸਫ਼ਰ 'ਚ ਅਰਬਾਂ ਖਰਬਾਂ ਵਰੇ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਪਾਇਆ ਜਾਣਾ। I'm going to read the whole thing in Punjabi as well. ਨਾਸਤਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਬੁੱਢੇ ਮਾਪਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੈਰਾਨੀ ਭਰੇ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਨਾਲ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜੀਵਨ ਦੇ ਵਗਦੇ ਦਰਿਆ 'ਚ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਫਰਜ਼ ਨਿਭਾਇਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਬੂਤ ਹੋ ਜਿਸ 'ਤੇ। ਨਾਸਤਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਿੱਕ ਨਾਲ ਲਾ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਸਦੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਗਲਵੱਕੜੀ 'ਚ ਲੈਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਨਾਸਤਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਬੇਲੋੜੇ ਭਾਰਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਮੁਕਤ ਸਹਿਜ ਨਾਲ ਜੀਣਾ। Now I'll read this in English. To be an atheist. To be an atheist is not simply the denial of imaginary powers or the existence of hell and heaven. It is the beginning of the story, not the end. To be an atheist is to wake up in a new dawn after the sleep of centuries long, stretching your body and to see your surroundings with a fresh eye. To be an atheist is to love life in an altered manner, to create new songs of affection, be a flower, to smell the flowers, spreading the aroma. To be an atheist is to pay respect to innumerable organisms who during the millions of years played their role in the journey of becoming human. To be an atheist is to see your old parents in an awed respect, how wonderfully they did their duty in the ever-flowing river of life, you being the proof of that. To be an atheist is to hold your child tightly close to your chest, embarrassing the future life. To be an atheist is simply to be, without the necessary baggage to live in tranquility. Thank you.
You're so beautiful. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Now, before we break for dinner, and it's a nutritious dinner that is served right now, and we will break for about half an hour. But before we do that, I would like to acknowledge the beautiful presence of Ria Arora, who is an MLA from Burnaby East. So very grateful to you, Ria, for showing up. Thank you so much. And now we break for about a half an hour, and we'll see you then. Thank you. Enjoy your dinner. I would like to, at this time, while we are still eating, to remind us of the children, whether they are in Gaza or they are living in the hinterland of India in Dalit homes and going to bed without any food. We need to be very mindful of the children of our world who, because of whatever reasons, are unable to feed themselves, while we are able to, and gratefully I must say, are able to feed ourselves. Thank you for listening to that short message. Well, before we proceed with calling in the first award, I would like to also acknowledge a couple of friends who left us in the last year. A very dear friend of ours, a beloved, a brother, a comrade, a teacher, Dr. Rajinder Singh Panu of Edmonton, Dr. R.S. Panu. He taught sociology. I attribute my knowledge of Marxist sociology to Dr. Panu. He was not only my teacher, he was my mentor, he was my brother, and I mourn him and I miss him so much. He left us. He checked out on 30th of January this year. Another friend of ours who lived in this community, a beautiful human being, his name was Harjit Singh Dodaria. Harjit Singh was a communist. He remained steadfast his entire life. And in Canada, where it was fashionable not to be known as a communist, so people will do this, roundabout ways and join up some kind of a political party like NDP or something and feel all the best about themselves. Harjit Singh was steadfast. He remained communist until his end, and he died about a few weeks ago. I would like to send tributes from all of you to Brother Harjit Singh Dodaria. I also would like to now take the opportunity of acknowledging a whole lot of our Nepalese brothers and sisters who have graced this occasion. Of course, Abhiji, who you saw at the front and who took your money because he likes to doing that. Abhiji is a big part of our body, of our mind, of our sensibilities. He's a beautiful comrade who has stayed with us forever. Abhi is from Nepal. He has, through his good offices, he has brought in a whole lot of Nepalese comrades, especially Raju Bhattarai, who is currently the newest elected president of the Nepal Cultural Society of British Columbia. And Rajuji, being a generous and kind and a thoughtful and a beautiful human, indicated an interest in reciting a poem for us. So before we engage in the award ceremony, I would like to invite Brother Raju Bhattarai to come and regale us with a poem.
Thank you very much. I'm a little nervous. I'm going, first of all, my name is Raju Bhattarai. I am representing Nepalese community here in British Columbia. My whole life, I worked with the different organizations, basically comrades, with all our comrades. I was the General Secretary of a student union as well when I was in India. Now I'm working with different community groups, and fortunately, I am here today only, able to get to serve Nepali communities in this British Columbia, beautiful British Columbia. So today, I just remember my very old days when I was with around all the people who works for people. And this remind me this place, and I feel so good to be here. Thankful for Abhi Sharma. He is one of the biggest leaders in our community and a loved person with every Nepalese. Doesn't matter, comrade or anyone else. He is loved by everyone. So thank you, Abhi, for bringing me over here. I'm going to read a poem which of past is Avtar Singh Sandhu. I grew up with his motivation poems, and everybody knows this poem, and I think this is the right place to present his poem today in this place. And this poem is in Hindi. I cannot translate in English, but I will try, and maybe someone who knows better English, they can translate later on if needed. So I'm going to read this poem. It's his poem. I'm just reading that. सबसे खतरनाक होता है मुर्दा शांति से भर जाना, ना होना तड़फ का सब कुछ सहन कर जाना, घर से निकलना काम पर और काम से लौट कर घर आना, सबसे खतरनाक होता है हमारे सपनों का मर जाना, सबसे खतरनाक होता है घड़ी की सुइयों के आगे निकल जाना और लौटकर अतीत में धंस जाना, अंधेरे में राह टटोलता रहना और लौट आना घर में, सबसे खतरनाक होता है अपने ही घर में घुटकर रह जाना, सबसे खतरनाक होता है बेरोजगारी का सन्नाटा सह जाना, ना होना किसी आवाज का हिस्सा, सबसे खतरनाक होता है बचना सबसे खतरों से और सबसे खतरनाक होता है हमारे सपनों का मर जाना। बस इतनी सी एक कविता है पास की, जो मुझे this always motivate me to work and not just work, do something so that people will remember you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So very grateful to you, and especially to Abhiji for helping us build this beautiful bridge with the Nepalese community. They are our community. We love them. They are part of ourselves. And just to tell you a tidbit, when I was walking the Everest base camp, I took upon myself the task of picking up the wrappers that people would carelessly throw as they are hiking. And I did not find a single wrapper that says made in India. All the wrappers were from Europe. Not a single one from North America, not a single one from Iran, from India or any other Asian countries, but European tourists doing this hike, they thought it's fine for them to throw their wrappers that a humble human from your community in British Columbia was collecting. So grateful to Brother Raju for regaling us with a beautiful poem. I would like to introduce now, once again, this brother of mine, and he told me specifically not to mention that, but I will mention it. He'll be a little upset with me, but that's fine. I'll take that slap from him anytime. He is my brother, he's my friend, he's my leader, my thought leader in particular, especially since he is the one who read a poem about Gnostics, right? I call him Imam of all Gnostics. So he and I am still promoting this concept of creating a Gnostic church here, somewhere in the Bible Belt, around somewhere in Surrey, so that we can preach our creed and get people to come and join us, brothers like Brother Jay, who is a big soul in the movement of against untouchability, against casteism in this province and Washington, D.C., in entire Pacific Northwest, Brother Jay. So thank you. Brother Sadhu ji, kindly come here and hand over the first award of the evening. You have to announce.
Yes. So the first award of tonight's award ceremony is for Mamta Foundation of Canada. And I'm going to say a few words about this organization before I call them. The Mamta Foundation of Canada was established in 2009 by our friend, comrade Makhan Tut, and his life partner, our sister Garvaksh Deo. Mamta is a charity organization dedicated to transforming lives and fostering social change through compassion and empowerment. Founded on the principles of love and care, this organization is devoted to supporting local and international projects that increase the quality of life for marginalized people. I'm going to read the aims and purposes of Mamta. When I read them, I quite like them myself, so it's maybe a bit little time, but I would like to share these with you. Support the moral, social, cultural, and economic uplift of orphaned, unwanted, abandoned, and or poor children of the world. Support the poor, helpless, elderly, disabled, and people affected by natural disasters and wars around the world without any distinction of country, region, race, caste, color, or religion. Organize economic assistance for such individuals. Produce, print, publish, and distribute books and literature for the fulfillment of above said aims and objects. Ensure the purpose of this society shall be non-political and non-religious and shall be carried out in an exclusively charitable manner. And the last one, the purpose of this society shall be carried out without the interest of gain for its members, officers, and directors, and any profits of other accretions of the society shall be used exclusively in the interest of promoting its purpose. These were the aims and purpose. I thought that they were great, all of them, the way they put them down, and knowing Makhan and Garvaksh, we know that they follow it to the word. To achieve these aims, together with the help of the local Greater Vancouver community, media and businesses, Mamta Foundation has held so far 16 annual fundraising dinners and has also participated in a number of community events. Through these fundraising events, Mamta has been able to raise large amounts of money and has helped some specific causes. And these are the figures that I'm going to share with you, that money that they've raised are last year's figures. They haven't added this year, which they had just a couple of weeks ago, their fundraising dinner. So these figures are $451,753 to support the construction of an ashram building called Unique Home for abandoned, unwanted, and orphaned girls in Jalandhar city, Punjab. This ashram is run by Pai Kailley Ji Charitable Trust, registered in Punjab. And the second one, $650,900 to support the construction of a new home for orphaned and abandoned girls called Jyoti Swaroop Kanya Asra Society in Kharad, Chandigarh. And the last one, 568,712 to Prav Asra in Patiala, Punjab. So these are the big, the sources that they help every year and keep them going. At the same time, Mamta has helped a number of international and local causes. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. It donated $15,000 to Harmony House in Surrey, $8,000 to the Red Cross for the Philippines Relief Fund, and so on. There's a list of places that they've contributed money locally and internationally. Along with supporting these causes, this organization hopes to increase education and awareness in the community about many issues that orphaned females are facing in Punjab. Providing a strong living foundation for these girls is an important step in offering them essential opportunities that will help create a positive difference in their lives through an education and a nurturing atmosphere. They've helped a lot of people. Maybe Makhan will share some examples with us. Some of these girls who were abandoned at birth have been able to do well in life and well educated and have become professionals in a number of fields. So it's what they're doing in Punjab especially is something that was really needed, and they felt the need of that. And I think they deserve our respect and this award that we are going to give them. So I'm calling Makhan Tut and Gurvaksh to come and receive their award.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. Very much thanks to Dr. Sharma Foundation, Sadhu for introducing, and everybody. 16 years of the foundation journey is very hard. It's very happy moment, happy events, and very painful. The happy moments are because the issue we took for the abandoned, orphan, unwanted girls, and the gender equality here and back country, that was the big issue for the women empowerment that we try to raise it in the community here and over there, and bring this issue to the attention of the community and to the people, explaining. On March 15, we had our annual fundraising dinner, and over 900 people came to, and we raised over $100,000 in that event there. From last 16 years, we concerned about the women problem back in country and here in a large community and also in our Indo-Canadian community. There are many issues about the Native The girls, women, they were missing, and there was big pressure on the government to find out why they disappeared, where they are. The women in Canada also got the vote rights after the big struggle in Canada. Still, in our community too, there are various issues about the gender equality, issues about honor killing, and the women, the problem, the family violence. In last few years, many years, we have seen the examples. There were two big issues in our community about the honor killing. There was Jessie, who was killed because she got married, because with somebody she loved. She went from Canada to India. She got married with the person she loved, and she was killed. Then there was issue when I just came to Canada in 1975. There was issue that big preacher in our Sikh community, his daughter got married with somebody she loved, and after the wedding, he sent her a time bomb in the kettle, and she was happy. The father sent her the kettle. When they put the plug in, the both husband and wife died. That preacher was jailed for life, but when he came back in Eversport, he was elected the Sikh community Gurdwara president. And this guy who killed Jessie, her uncle and mother, they were trial here, and then they were sent back to India. They are in jail. And one other person, he killed his wife. He was also in the Sikh temple on 140 Street. He killed his wife with the press, with the iron, and he's in jail. So these kind of issues are in our large community, and also we are part of this community. So these issues come in folks in the light, because sometimes is more because the minority issue comes in. So this is very painful, and we are raising our concern about these issues here. As a Mamta Foundation of Canada, when United Nations, they declared the Day of Girl, and we, in our community, we were the first organization in Canada to hold a big meeting and recognize the girls in our community who were not recognized in various issues. In language, in social work, in the games, everywhere, we brought them on the stage. So when in Canada, we have the family violence, and the women are the victims, they call the police. Some of our women, they came to Canada, they are new, they have problem with the English, and they can't speak English. So PICS Society, Chandpal Gill that time, he raised the issue in the community to make a harmony house for the women, so where they can bring in and look after until the issue is solved, or they take the issue to the law in the courts or somewhere. So that time, we raised the funds, and there was short money to give the down payment. So Mamta Foundation of Canada, we raised $15,000 that time, and the Harmony House was built by PICS that time. So even in the community before that, we were always taking the issue of the women very seriously. I was involved with Vancouver South, with Sadhu Sukhwant, and we were raising the questions for the local issues in the community, about the youth, about the women, about the old people, and bringing those issues through the stage plays. And Sadhu and Sukhwant that time wrote the play about that, and we brought that to the stage in the community to show that the women don't deserve violence, they deserve the equal rights and the gender equality. So that was done here. In 2009, my wife came from India and she showed me a leaflet that she visited to a house there where that orphan center looks after the girls who are found alive, thrown in the bush, or found on the ponds or somewhere. Some of them are killed or eaten by the dogs, some are survived, and they are there. She told me that. I did not believe that. Like many other people don't believe that who can throw their daughter or girl to die in the bush, but it happens. I did not believe her. So then I went to India with her and I went to visit that place in Jalandhar. There were 45 girls that time, about 15 girls in the cribs. There were 5, 6, 7 maybe girls in each crib. And when we went in the room, they were standing like this. So I picked up one girl and she was climbing with me, like she maybe found her father or somebody. So I was trying to leave her in the crib. She was not going anywhere. So that brought the tears to my eyes. So we came to Canada, and my wife, Gurbaksh, she is the founder of the organization Mamta. So she got together with other ladies in our community, and she said, let's make the organization that we can raise such issues and help these girls. So she put the name Mamta. Mamta means affection and love, motherly affection and love. So that organization, what we done, we took our first issue, like Sadhu explained, in Unique Home Jalandhar. So those girls were in 2 rooms, that time 45 girls. So now they have over 100. So we try to make a building for them. So we raised our first function 2010. That was the first function. So foundation was built in 2009. Then the second was, it's very painful. We found the second issue that some people with the economic region, they hang themselves like peasants, and some labor, people working in the labor, and there are girls left behind. They don't have any opportunity to go for education, and nobody looks after them. So I went to, in the summertime, I went to India and I saw that place, Jyoti Swaroop Kanya Society, and that person who was organizing it, he was going door to door to collect the wheat. So summertime, I was going with him to farm, how he was collecting. So we tried to support him. So we built other house, and they have 145 girls, and we gave them education. Mostly these girls are from the poor families, mostly from the Dalit families or poor farmers. Most of them have no both parents or have only mother, father is passed away. So those girls, we gave them good education. 2 of them became the lawyer, and one is going for judiciary. She will become judge maybe in few years. So the third place is very, very different story. They have the girls which are blind or mentally disabled or on the wheelchairs, and some of them, most of them are found wandering on the streets with no knowledge of the world where they are moving, and they get victims of rape, and they give birth to the children in that ashram. And we finished the building there, 4-story building last year, and we made the 4 places where kids are different place, and then on the second floor are those women, and they are looked after. So we are trying to help that. Now the issue comes, I don't want to take it's okay if I take few more minutes? It's okay? Okay.
I have competition with Sukhwant. My wife said, don't take less time than Sukhwant, maybe 5 minutes more than Sukhwant. Okay. 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 Now, the question is where these women come from. Well, these women come from our society, as we think there should not be any orphan center or any shelter like this. There should be a responsibility of the government and the society to look after and make this society able to live with the equal rights for men and women, girls and boys in the society. So there should not be any problem. But that is the lack of such things in the community where the governments and the society failed. And that's why there are these kind of organizations. They look after this. They are not government organizations that we are supporting. They are charity organization over there, and they are look after such things. I went to find out why people killing these girls. So I went to Hardwar, that is the Hindu pilgrims, is big holy place. And the reason I went there, because in the Hindu culture, they say boy is must in the family when the father dies, and the boy, the son, do the Kapal Kriya. When person die and the Kapal Kriya is done only by boy, that's when dead person get the moksha and goes to the heaven, otherwise no. So everybody wants the boy, not the girl. So their time, one gentleman is one station, a railway station before Hardwar, that is Rodki. One person, well-educated person, was dying. He called his two daughters, there was no son. And he told them, when I die, you take my dead body to Shamshan. And you take two more girls, 4 girls take me there. And they done that. And then they went to Haridwar for the last ceremony. And it was big issue in the Hindu community, why girls doing that, but the girls took the stand. So I went there to Haridwar to interview those girls to make a documentary film. But I could not find them, but I stayed there for 4 nights in Haridwar, and I found one girl from Himachal Pradesh. She was doing that. So I was very happy I found that girl. So I took her interview. And this is that 2 girls took the stand. And now there are the girls who are doing that. But because they took the stand and community stand, they stood behind them. That's why it's happening. Then I went to, somebody took me to a ashram. There was old lady, Sadhvi. Sadhvi is saffron with the Hindu religion. And when I went there, I told the guy, what the hell, where you came? I don't like to talk to Sadhvi. You know, I thought she is fanatic Hindu like that, because that time was RSS and other stuff. But when I talked to her, she was not that kind of fanatic like I was thinking. So she told me the stories that on that Ganga, people come and they do the mundan with crew cut to the girls and they leave it there. She was looking after that. So there are so many stories. I don't want to take the time much. Thank you very much. Thank you. And some other time. But I have the documentary film. I showed the documentary film, our program. The documentary film is 20 minutes. It is called The Stories of Our Daughters. So we are planning to show that in a few weeks in some hall. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Makhanji. Just to let you know that about 2-3 weeks ago, I had the privilege of attending the Mamta Foundation annual dinner. And after living in depression for 16, 17, 18 months, that was the only night of exhilaration for me when I saw the degree of their work and the efficacy of their work and the dedication with which they are serving these people who have nothing. They are children who are abandoned, girl children abandoned by their parents to float on some kind of a river or something, just like Moses or someone like that, right? And these people bring those kids up, give them education, give them opportunities at life, and it is so inspiring and so beautiful. So thank you, Makhanji, and thank you, Mamta Foundation. Well, I would like to, he's already here, my brother, and my beloved friend, Hermender ji. I will ask him to introduce our next recipient of our award.
Thank you, Zahid. Just to Makhan, I didn't come myself. Gurbaksh asked me to come over. Anyway, I'm so well organized that if I want to come on stage, I have to write something up. I wrote it, I typed it, I printed it, and left it at home. Anyway, the next award is to a good friend of mine, whom I've known for about 50 years. So I actually really don't need anybody to tell me about him. It's Paul Binning. In 1969, he established or founded an organization called Punjab Culture Association. He was the first one in Canada with Punjabi tol, big drum, to teach Bhangra dance to young Punjabis or non-Punjabis who wanted to learn it. What was unique about his form of Bhangra was, it was not Bollywood type. You would hear boliyan. These songs are from Punjabi villages. He was a big supporter of the Canadian Farm Workers Union back in 70s and 80s, of BC organization to fight racism. Whenever we had any kind of function, he was in charge of entertainment. Of course, they would perform Bhangra. Many years ago, Paul and Jess, his wife, they lost their son Deepak. They established Deepak Binning Foundation to raise funds for the Cancer Society. They raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, if I'm not mistaken, close to $1 million. He's involved in multiculturalism, anti-racism, all kinds of events that take place in Richmond to raise equality issues in the community. A number of years ago, some people, and him including, and his brother Sadhu Binning, and a whole bunch of others, established an organization called PLE, Punjabi Language Education Association. The purpose was to go to the government, British Columbia government, and ask them to allow or teach Punjabi in schools where there's demand for it. And that happened many years ago, almost 20 years ago. Punjabi is taught in some schools in British Columbia, and he has been responsible to raise funds for the organization, to educate people, and to bring awareness about Punjabi language and Punjabi culture. And on top of all of this, he's a real gentleman. It also happens to be his birthday today. He's 3 years younger than me, so that makes him 18. Paul, come on over.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Baljit. Happy birthday to you. Thank you.
ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਹਰਿੰਦਰ। ਡਾਕਟਰ Sharma Foundation। ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਲਾਈਨਾਂ ਸੰਤ ਰਮਦਾਸੀ ਦੇ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਦਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜੋ ਕੁਛ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਢੁਕਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਆ। ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੂ ਹੰਗਾਰਾ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ, ਮੁੱਢ ਬੰਨ੍ਹਿਆ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਦਾ। ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੋਟਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ, ਬਹੁਤ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ। ਮੈਨੂੰ 58 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਵੋਲੰਟੀਅਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੂੰ, ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੂੰ। ਮੈਂ ਕਦੀ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਲੀਡਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਰੋਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ, ਮੈਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕੰਮੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਚਾਹ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ, ਕੁਰਸੀਆਂ ਚੱਕਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ, ਮੇਰੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਨਾਲ। ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਮੁੱਢ ਬੰਨ੍ਹਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹ ਸਾਧੂ, ਹਰਿੰਦਰ, ਸੁਖਵੰਤ, ਮੱਖਣ, ਰਾਜ ਚੌਹਾਨ, ਹਰਜੀ ਬੈਠੀ ਇੱਥੇ, ਜਸ ਤੇ ਕੁੱਲੂ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਬੈਠੀਆਂ, ਜਿਹਨੀ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਗਿੱਧੇ ਦੀਆਂ ਟੀਮਾਂ ਬਣਾਈਆਂ ਇੱਥੇ। ਸਾਡਾ ਬੜਾ ਭਰਾ ਚੰਨਪਾਲ ਗਿੱਲ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤੇ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਮੌਕਾ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਰਨ ਦਾ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਣ ਦਾ। ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਿਖੀਆਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਲਾਈਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 2 ਸ਼ਬਦਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ। ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਕੰਮ ਇਸ ਪਾਸੇ ਸੋਚ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ, ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਸੋਚ ਇਸ ਪਾਸੇ ਦੇ ਸੋਚ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਹ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਨਾਂ ਲਏ ਆ, ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਥੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ। ਉਹ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਹਿਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਅੱਜ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ। ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ BCOFR ਸੀਗੀ, ਸਾਡੇ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਸੱਥ ਵਾਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਕਾਫੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ। ਦੂਜਾ ਵਤਨੋਂ ਦੂਰ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਹੱਥ ਨਾਲ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਸਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਉਦੋਂ, ਹੱਥ ਨਾਲ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਹੱਥ ਨਾਲ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਔਰ ਐਡਿਟ ਕਰਨਾ, ਐਡਿਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਛਪਾਉਣਾ, ਛਪਾ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਹੱਥ ਨਾਲ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਭੇਜਣਾ। ਜਿੰਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਹੱਕਦਾਰੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਅਵਾਰਡ ਦਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਇੰਨੇ ਮਾਣ ਦਾ, ਓਨੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਘਰ ਵਾਲੀ ਆ ਜੈਸੇ 'ਤੇ ਬੈਠੀ ਆ, ਓਨੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਮਾਂ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਆ। ਸਾਡੇ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਵਾਲੇ, ਪਾਰ ਕਲੱਬ ਵਾਲੇ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਈਵਨ ਉਹ ਕਈ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਠੇਕੇਦਾਰਾਂ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਕਲਾਬੀ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ ਲਾਈਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਬੋਲੀਆਂ ਲਾਈਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਇੰਨਾ ਅਸਰ ਸੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ। ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਾਥ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਕੰਮ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ। ਮੇਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਸੀਗੀ PCA, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਲਚਰ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ, ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਸੱਥ, ਵਤਨੋਂ ਦੂਰ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਲਚਰ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ, ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ, VCOFR, ਸਾਡੀ ਦੀਪਕ ਵਿਨੀ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਕਈ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਜੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ। ਮੈਨੂੰ 52 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਮੈਂ ਅਜੇ ਹਟਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੈਂ ਅਜੇ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ। ਕਰਦਾ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਰਿਆ ਸੀ, ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਤੁਰਿਆ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੇ ਵੱਡੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ। ਹਰਿੰਦਰ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਪਾਂਡਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਹੀਆਂ। ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਿਰਫ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਸਮਝੀ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਚੱਲਦੀਆਂ ਆ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਸਪੀਚਾਂ ਕਰਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੀਡਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਸੀ ਜਿਹਨੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਹਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਰਸੀਆਂ ਲਾਉਣੀਆਂ, ਚਾਹ ਰੱਖਣੀ, ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰਨਾ, ਦੀ ਮਾਈਕਰੋਫੋਨ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਣੇ, ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨਾ। ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਣਾ, ਕੁਰਸੀਆਂ ਚੱਕਣੀਆਂ, ਭਾਂਡੇ ਧੋਣੇ, ਫਲੋਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਹਾਲ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਦੀ, ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ। ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰੀ ਵਾਈਫ, ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ, ਸਾਰੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੇ ਸਾਥ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਫਾਰਮ ਵਰਕ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਸਿਖਾਉਣ ਦਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਰੀ ਮਾਂ ਵੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਮੇਰੀ ਮਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਸਿੱਖਦੀ ਰਹੀ ਆ। ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਅਨੇਕਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਾਰਮ ਵਰਕ ਯੂਨੀਅਨ ਦੀਆਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸੀ, VCF ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸੀ, ਉੱਥੇ ਭੰਗੜਾ ਪਾਇਆ। ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਪਰਸਨਲੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਖਰਚ ਕੇ ਵੈਨ ਲਈ ਸੀ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੈਨ ਆ ਉਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਕੰਮਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਵੇ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਬੰਦਾ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਲਿਖਾਰੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਡਰਾਮੇ ਕਰਨੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਵੈਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ। ਭੰਗੜਾ ਪਾਉਣ ਨੂੰ VCF ਨੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਬਾਹਰਲੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਮੈਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੈਨ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਡਰਾਮੇ ਕਰਨੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਵੈਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਹੁਣ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ। ਮੈਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ, ਪਹਿਲੇ ਦਿਨ ਤੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ। ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਵਿਕਟੋਰੀਆ ਉਹਨੇ ਲਾ ਪਾਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਹੈਰੀਟੇਜ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਦਾ, ਉਦੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੀ ਸਾਧੂ ਦੇ ਕਹਿਣ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਔਰਗਨਾਈਜ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਰਿਚਮੰਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਹਾਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਉਹੀ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੀਟਿੰਗਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਕੁਰਸੀਆਂ ਲਾ ਕੇ, ਚਾਹ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ, ਮਾਈਕਰੋਫੋਨ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਸੈੱਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਸੈੱਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਸੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਮੇਰੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਇਹੀ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਕਾਹਤੇ, ਮੈਂ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਘੰਟੇ ਵੋਲੰਟੀਅਰ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ। ਰਿਚਮੰਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਟਾਈਮ 9 ਬੋਰਡ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ, 9 ਬੋਰਡਸ, ਰੋਜ਼ ਹੀ ਮੀਟਿੰਗਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ। ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੁਣ ਉਮਰ ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਕਾਫੀ ਛੱਡਤਾ, ਅਜੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ 5 ਬੋਰਡਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਹੈਗਾ। ਅਜੇ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਬੋਰਡ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ 44 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਅਜੇ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਪੂਰਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ, ਵੋਲੰਟੀਅਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦਾ। ਮੈਂ ਕਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਿਆ, ਕਦੀ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਿਆ, ਸਿਰਫ ਕੰਮ ਹੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਮਾਣ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਅਤੇ ਦੂਜਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਘਰਵਾਲੀ ਜੱਸ, ਇਹ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਮੈਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੀ। ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਪਲੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਮੀਟਿੰਗਾਂ, ਦੀਪਕ ਬਿਨੀ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੀਆਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਕੇ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਕੰਮ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੰਮ ਅੱਗੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ। ਇਹਨੇ ਕਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਆ ਕੇ ਪਲੀ ਦੀ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਬਹਿ ਜਾਈਦਾ, ਇਹਨੇ ਚਾਹ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਕੁੱਕੀਆਂ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਰੱਖ ਦੇਣੀਆਂ। ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਕੋਈ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਦੇ ਹੋਵੇ। ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ 50 ਬੰਦੇ ਰੋਟੀ ਖਾ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਕਦੀ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਮਾਂ ਨੇ, ਮੇਰੀ ਜੱਸ ਨੇ ਮੱਥੇ ਪੱਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਪਾਇਆ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਹੱਕਦਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੱਕਦਾਰ ਇਹ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਥ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਸੋ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ, ਬਹੁਤ ਮਿਹਰਬਾਨੀ।
Thank you. Now, you know, one of the tasks that was assigned to me is a rather difficult task because I have been asked to introduce what I call, or who I call, a power couple in our midst. And these are two exceptionally important comrades. Not only their importance is because of how much they have remained involved with the Sharma Foundation and with other South Asian emancipation-related projects such as South Asian Film Education Society, such as South Asian Network for Secularism and Democracy, for West Coast Committee Against Racism. This couple has remained at the inspirational front of everything that we have done. We are very, very, very grateful to them, and grateful to them for their being and for their kindness. Now, one of the I will introduce them both. I will start with my beloved sister, Patricia Gruben. She is, I don't think that she needs any introduction, but I will try anyways. What the heck, right? I mean, Brother Sukhwinder took long, Brother Makhan Singh took long, so what's wrong with me taking few extra minutes, right? So Patricia Gruben, it's good luck of Canada that she moved away from Houston. Houston, remember, Texas? Which is a kind of state that is at the core of what is happening in the US today. She moved here in 1972, the year when yours truly was released from prison on 11th of January, 1972. I was thrown out of prison to go home, and I was very happy. And Sister Patricia came to Canada. After finishing a film school, she then started working as an art director and a set decorator on films in Toronto, made short experimental narrative films. She came to Vancouver to take up a job teaching in the film program at SFU. And we are very grateful to SFU that has remained very connected with with our Hari Sharma Foundation. And we have done lots of work with them. Of course, we got Hari from SFU. We got Chin Banerjee from SFU. And we got Martin and Patricia from SFU as well. And we are very grateful to you. She also organized where we used to have lots of meetings, an outfit called Praxis. It was housed in downtown in that building, SFU building there. And we had lots of meetings there, including the inaugural meeting of South Asian Film Education Society. In 2001, Patricia and her handsome husband, who is sitting right there, exceptionally handsome and highly talented, a beautiful musician, a great teacher, and a beloved comrade. They went to India to research a project about Madame Blavatsky. So those of us who belong to Gnostic school of thought of Imam Sadhu would also recall Theosophical Society. Before partition, when there was a Quit India movement happening, there were people like Dr. Annie Besant who floated this idea of protecting the syncretic creed of India, a syncretic creed of India which is currently under the most fatal attack from the purveyors of Hindutva. And that is where she started her work studying Madame Blavatsky, and then studied and went and worked at the JNU in Delhi and Xavier Institution in Mumbai. That Blavatsky project turned into a play which ran in Vancouver in 2012. Her love of South Asian films led her to teach a course in Indian cinema at SFU, and she worked with a Pakistani producer to adapt Bapsi Sidhwa's novel, The Pakistani Bride, into a feature screenplay. Meanwhile, she became friends with Hari Sharma at SFU, a fatal movement on her part, but great for us that we got Patricia through that. When the Hari Sharma Foundation started in 2012, she joined the board and she has served on the board since then. She's currently my boss as the vice president because vices always rule, right? Her most recent film that I had the privilege of watching last Sunday at Vancouver International Film Festival Theatre. It's a WIF theatre at the confluence of Seymour Street and Davie Street in the city of Vancouver. And at the Heart of Gold dealt with a very, very important issue of people running away from US during the time of Vietnam War and who were fearing draft, who did not wanted to participate in an unjust war, and as a protest, they gave up. Can you imagine people giving up their roots? How difficult it is. For any one of us here who is like me, a refugee, would understand that when people take those actions, they defy laws of gravity. It's a very grave concern and a very grave affair. She made the film on those people who ran from US to Canada, and here they got refuge in British Columbia in our Dukobar community, that is a pacifist community, and who live mostly in the Kootenays area. And it's a great film. I strongly suggest that you watch it. It will leave you thinking for a long time, and you will marvel at the beauty of Sister Gruben's marvelous filmmaking. Now let's talk a little bit about Brother Martin. Now, Brother Martin is a former dean at SFU. He is currently a player. He plays mandolin. He plays mandolin at his favorite synagogue at the corner of 10th and Fraser, called Or Shalom Synagogue, where he is a leader and a community elder. He has studied film and music at Concordia University, and I think the impact he had on that university has caused that university to play a leading role currently in Montreal in raising awareness about genocide in Palestine. As a composer, performer, his work includes electroacoustic and acoustic scores for feature and documentary film, video, theater, dance, and the concert stage. As a sound designer, he has worked as a practitioner, consultant, and teacher, actively engaged in computational art for many years. Brother Martin was one of the founders of the federally funded Center for Image and Sound Research. He was designer and curator of Music Machines show. He was also facilitator of the Computed Art Summer Intensives at SFU in 1990s. He was on faculty at the School for the Contemporary Arts, Simon Fraser University, from 1981 to 2016. He completed his term as associate dean and then a dean. He's a long-time student of Indian classical music. And he is a great teacher. If you want to learn about the inner aspects of Indian classical music, pick Martin's brain. And he has co-produced a media festival in the lower Himalayas from 2005 to 2019. He's a multi-instrumentalist. Currently plays a number of different musical ensembles and continues to collaborate as a composer with his beloved wife, Filmmaker, and must I say, to incredible sons that they got when they came to Vancouver, you know. I mean, that is the gift that they had. And these are beautiful two boys that they have. They're twins. Both of them are musicians. Can you imagine? One of them was sent to jail for protesting killing of trees and destruction of our earth in this city. And we should be grateful for them, not only to remain steadfast as they have through these years, but they have helped produce a generation of future leaders in the shape of Jesse and Noah. And I'm very grateful and very much honored to invite both of them to come and receive their award and say a few words to us.
You have to stay. I think I speak for both of us when I say how profoundly embarrassing this is. Partly because I'm on the committee that chooses the people that we're awarding, and I had to leave. I was not involved with this. I had to leave the room. But there's so many people, both on the board of the Hari Sharma Foundation and others in this room who are, I think, more deserving of this award. But I would just say, if Zahid has ever told you that you're beautiful, you will be getting it next year or the year after. So keep coming to the dinner. You may be surprised. Zahid talked a little bit about my background and how I came to this love for South Asian culture and social justice, kind of from two different ways. The first way was meeting Hari at a sit-in in, I think, 1983, just before the general strike that was instigated by the Social Credit Party cutbacks of that era. It was 82 or 83, I can't remember. But I met Hari on a picket line and we became friends. And then, as always happened with Hari, I started doing errands for him and going to demonstrations and just supporting his work. And in fact, we still have a part of Hari at our cabin where we spend time in the summers, because when his house was demolished, we got the boards that were framing the outside of it, and we put them on the outside of our cabin. So we think of Hari whenever we're up there. But so there are kind of two different ways. One was through Hari, and I met several people, at least Abi and Hermender and Zahid eventually, and even Baljit has told me that she was at Hari's house when she was still a film student. So all the people that he collected around him are many of them are still part of this community. And the other way was, as Zahid mentioned, through this research project that we had in 2001, which led us to travel to India for the first time, where we met people from Jawaharlal Nehru University and ended up setting up a field school in contemporary art and culture of India, which I did for 3 times, and Martin was also involved with that, and gave me a real appreciation for the intersection of the past and the present in all the Indian art forms, from dance to visual art to film, which was my main interest. But the past is present in all the contemporary art forms in a way that's really profound. So I guess the reason that I feel there's so many other people who deserve this award more than we do is because both Martin and I came not from a sense of oppression or ordeal or peril, as so many people have, or the struggle, but just from a love of the culture, and so we've continued with that through some of our projects, and ultimately I think it's because we've had so many parties at our house, but it could be worse. So I'm really grateful for this, and although I feel I can never live up to the silver curtains in my dress code, I should be dressing like Taylor Swift, but next year. Okay.
Okay. Just very, very briefly, and I'm being very brief. My grandparents came here in the turn of the last century, and I'm alive because they were able to escape Eastern Europe at that time. And when they arrived in Halifax and then ultimately in Montreal, the four of them all met up there. They all were part of what we called benevolent societies in Montreal, and that was how people survived. They created community, and that's how you got hospitals and cemeteries. And all my grandparents are buried in one cemetery under the banners of different benevolent societies, because you'd pay 50 cents a month or $1 a month, and that paid for all the things you needed to have happen, and you supported everybody that way. And as Patricia said, I'm undeserving of this award, but I'm very grateful for the fact that I'm part of this community, because community is so important. And listening to the speeches tonight, one can really understand the power of community and how important that we all are not only members of our own community, but other communities, because that enriches us and gives us a better perspective on how the world works. And it really sustains me, the different communities that I'm a part of, and I'm grateful to support. So thank you for this honor. I appreciate it very much. And I'm very grateful to all of you. You are all beautiful. And I'm grateful that you have given us this honor and have allowed us to be part of this community.
Thank you so much. What a beautiful couple, right? Don't you think so? Well, I now would like to invite back to a stage Sister Patricia, but before we go ahead, I would like to make sure that you all know that Sister Patricia was asked to leave the meeting when a vote was taken. I was chairing that session, and I know that because I asked her rather politely that, Sister Patricia, you are beautiful, I love you, but you have to leave now. And she did. So they had no role in the determination of the award for them. I would like to now invite her to introduce our next recipient. Please.
Okay, I'm back. I'm really pleased to be able to introduce Baljit Sangra, the filmmaker. She has an entourage, and we also have about 10 minutes of mostly trailers, but also a short film that she's made, which we're going to screen, I guess just after I speak. We'll play the trailer, and then Baljit will come up and speak. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of her history, and then she can fill it in more. She studied film at UBC, and after some time spent in London, where it seems that she discovered that multiculturalism is more taken for granted there, and there were a lot of cultural activities that were just coming from all over the world. She came back to Vancouver and started a multicultural arts and entertainment show at City TV, which then moved over to the station M, which is now Omni. And so running that for a while, eventually her first credit on the Internet Movie Database was as line producer on Neil and Nikki, which some of you may remember, Bollywood film that was from Yash Raj Studios that was shot here in 2005. But her first film as a director was Warrior Boys, which is a study of two high school students in Surrey who are dealing with gang culture and the threat around them, co-produced with the National Film Board. And I should say, too, Selwyn Jacob from the NFB is also here, who's been involved, I think, with several of... Since then, she's made several other feature-length documentaries, including a brand new one that will have its world premiere on May 4th at the Doxa Festival. It'll be screening at SFU downtown. And, her films have been funded and distributed by the NFB, by TELUS Story Hive, by Knowledge Network. They've shown in prestigious festivals like Doxa, which is a very much admired documentary film festival that takes place here every year in May, and also Hot Docs, which is an equivalent festival in Toronto. They've been nominated for several Leo Awards, which are British Columbia Film Awards. She's spoken at the Indian Summer Festival. She's been the vice chair of the DOC advocacy group, the Documentary Organization of Canada, I believe. She was co-program director at the Vancouver Asian Film Festival. Her film from 2023, Maria Shot Kita Goal, Make the Shot, played at the Vancouver International Film Festival, and is now been nominated for the Sundar Prize as the Best BC Feature, which will be announced next Sunday at the Landmark Cinemas in Surrey. And her brand new documentary, Have You Heard Judy Singh, which is about a Punjabi black jazz singer from the 1950s in Edmonton, that will be the world premiere at Doxa next month. So she's made a big impact on showing the accomplishments and the challenges of the South Asian, specifically, I believe, Punjabi community in British Columbia, the resistance to gang culture, sexual abuse in families, life in a care facility, striving for a career in the NHL. Through the personal stories she tells, which are really distinguished by the kind of rapport and trust that is clear from her subjects. It's very hard. I've tried to do this, and I know how hard it is, getting people to allow you to come into their lives at vulnerable moments and film them. And then to be able to put that film that you shot into a story that other people can empathize with. And this is what she's so good at and has shown her own community in a way that allows others to enter into it and understand it better. So 2 of her films, Warrior Boys and Because We Are Girls, are available on the National Film Board's website. You can go on it and watch them for free. And so I hope that we're going to show some trailers now, as I said. But I hope, if you haven't seen her work, I hope you'll get a chance to see it one of these ways. Okay, but no, we're going to show the clips first.
ਬਥੇਰੇ ਸਾਲ ਲੰਘੇ ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਬਣਾ ਦੇ ਤਾਂ ਬਣਾ ਲਓ ਜੀ ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਬਣੇ ਤੂੰ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਜਾਓ ਜੀ ਬਥੇਰੇ ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹਨ It's been long enough. If anything can be done, do it. If not, then just come home. This is a letter from my mother-in-law, Kartarpur, to my father-in-law, Inder Singh.
My father came to Canada in December of 1930. He wanted to have a better life economically. My mother was not allowed to come according to the immigration rules at that time. You were not allowed to bring spouses to Canada. This Gurdwara served the East Indian Sikh community in the Central Fraser Valley. It was important to my father because you need a place to come and pray, do your celebrations, socialize, talk about their families because they didn't have their families here. It's one of the oldest existing Sikh temples in the North American continent.
Ke 12 saal ho gaye hain ji. 12 दिन भी औखे हुंदे हाँ जी. She says, you keep on writing, I'm coming, and I really cannot tell if you are. It has been 12 years.
During that period of time in Canada, there was a lot of prejudice and discrimination. East Indian people were not allowed in certain places. Restaurants would have signs outside their door saying no dogs or East Indians allowed inside. And so it was impressed upon them to look more Western, talk more Western, learn more English, and they did that. My father had his hair cut. He started wearing Western dress.
I have not seen you in 20 years. I write this agony as to what I live for. I don't have children to keep me company. You have forgotten me. Please come back home.
He arrives at the railway station to be picked up by the family, and they didn't even recognize him. He was 17 when he left. He would have been in his 30s when he met her again. A whole generation went by.
She used to say in Punjabi, "Meri sari jawani chali gayi. My entire youth went away, waiting for you."
My father didn't have any education, but he educated himself as he went on in life. He became a businessman by delivering wood and sawdust to people here in the Central Fraser Valley. He was instrumental with a number of other people in the East Indian Sikh community in promoting this Gurdwara to receive heritage status. It was an achievement for the Indo-Canadian community, and that was important to him. When we come here, we talk about my father, my mother, my uncle. We feel at ease here. It's part of our family, it's part of our history.
Our family was your typical Punjabi family. We kept to ourselves, but were always up to celebrate an occasion with singing and dancing and eventually drama. When I was 11, that man came into our house. We were told, "This is your brother, you respect him," and we gave him that respect. I was raped at 11 years old. Someone my parents trusted. I decided to come out because I witnessed something that this person is still active in abusing girls. And then my world shattered.
My parents didn't suggest us going to the police.
that was a step that we had to take on our own. We were small, tiny children who didn't have any exposure to any of this. We had each other. That's how we got through our childhood. Even now. Only 1% of women make it to where we've made it.
Mom, where are you? When are you coming back? In our culture, we are supposed to care for our parents in their old age.
I had a dream I should be doing something for seniors.
Like for forgetting people's name.
That is old age, We have to be very strong.
I am drawn to one of the residents in particular, Saroj. She has spunk like my mom.
We hear stories from seniors. They've been abused.
When I get old, I'm hoping my grandson kids will come and take care of me when I need it.
And you're sitting whole day alone and nobody's coming.
She was so angry with me. She wouldn't like to talk to me.
Sometimes it's sad to think that, she had to leave.
We lived together for 22 years. It's hard.
Like Saroj, my mom was the strength at the core of our family.
You say Allah, Ram, Krishna, or Sadguru, or Vaheguru, but there's only one God, and we believe in that.
Happy birthday to
So many ladies, they have never celebrated their birthday.
Every night and morning, I pray that I should be gone.
Death is going to be beautiful. It's not that you call it. When it comes, you just accept.
I didn't think my mom's last day would come so soon. This left me with so many things unsaid and so many questions unanswered.
Dear God, thanks a lot. Naturally, ki sifta kare. Beant, beant, beant.
It is fun to play. It's fantastic to watch. It's unbelievable to be a part of.
Let's see these fancy moves you got. You ready, boy? Get your butt in here. Get your brown ass in here.
Every time he goes on ice, I tell him be creative, be different every time. Make memories on ice.
I just kind of have to patiently wait till I get my opportunity.
Remember, you're representing yourself, your families, and your community. That's truly your footprint and legacy you guys leave behind.
If I could choose a team to play for, I think I'd have to choose Vancouver. I want to sign a contract this year.
Hockey is a huge part, of the culture. How does that happen?
Being Canadians, and this is the only sport that we all relate to.
Nobody really thought there would be a place for me within the game.
I think I'm hitting my prime right now. It's about opportunity, and I believe I can do it.
So I would like to call back Sister Patricia to call Sister Baljit.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say it's a real honor to be here tonight. I actually first met Hari Sharma many years ago when I was still a film student. I met him through my cousin Harji. And I must say I met so many people here through Harji and Vancouver, Sadhu, Saquant, Paul, Makan, Gerbach, Pinder, yeah. And I guess there's a lot of osmosis or just hearing things and going to the plays, and it had an impact on me. And, you know, Hari Sharma had an impact. He had sort of like a salon at his house, inviting students and talking and starting Sansad and having screenings of some. I remember he organized a screening. Sansad organized a screening of Anant Patwaran's film. So, anyways, all of that is a big part of my early days as a student. So it definitely feels very serendipitous to be here today with all of you. To stand here years later and some films later and being recognized by a foundation that carries Hari Sharma's name means a lot to me. As a filmmaker, I've always been drawn to the South Asian diaspora, not only because it's my own community, but because within it, I see a spectrum of resilience, struggle, and transformation. Whether through the quiet strength of our elders, the courage of women breaking generational cycles, or athletes pushing past barriers, my work is about capturing the complexity of who we are and who we're becoming. One of the earliest films that allowed me to explore this was Warrior Boys, which followed two Punjabi teens at the crossroads in Surrey. They were vulnerable to gangs, and they were sort of navigating the pressures of being a teenager and cultural identity. That film opened the door to difficult but necessary conversations about masculinity, belonging, and the systems that fail young people. It taught me that when we make space for our youth to speak honestly, we all grow. In making that film, one of the main characters, Jagdeep, sadly he's since passed, but I met him when he was studying at SFU, and he already had spent some time in jail, and he had a connection with Hari Sharma too. So it's kind of serendipitous too to be here. And also on that film, it played on global TV, and some kid videotaped the whole movie in 8 parts and put it up on YouTube. And I was like, what? And we should take this down. But it had like thousands of views like that. So finally kids saw themselves represented. It had like 20,000 in each segment, like right away. So I was like, wow, there's something here about we need to start telling our own stories. I believe representation is not just about being seen on screen. It's about confronting hard truths, breaking silences, and rewriting narratives that have confined us. I'm drawn to the spaces between generations and cultures, the things said and unsaid. As immigrants and children of immigrants, we live in those in-between spaces. We carry our parents' struggles while forging our own path, and in doing so, we redefine what it means to belong. To be recognized by a foundation rooted in social justice and activism is incredibly meaningful. It reminds me that we're all part of something larger, a collective history, and an ongoing fight for dignity and truth. Thank you for this honor. I feel really blessed. I've always been supported by my family, friends, and colleagues who are here tonight. Thank you so much. It means a lot. I really appreciate all the encouragement, and there's definitely been some challenging times, and you all know who you have been, and you've really been there for me. I really appreciate it to keep me going and not quit. So thank you so much. I'm reminded of something Maya Angelou once said, that you bring everyone who has ever loved you with you wherever you go. And I feel that. I carry with me my ancestors and the strength and sacrifice of my parents, who allowed me to be curious, to ask questions, and to follow an unconventional path. Their belief in me, quiet and steady, has been the foundation for everything. Thanks.
Thank you, Sister Baljit. It's I would call again to the stage Brother Hermender Mahir to hand out the last award of the evening. Oh, actually, another technical difficulty. Instead of a Hermender, now it's Ria Arora who will introduce the next recipient of our award. Sister Ria Arora.
Thank you so much. My name's Rohini Arora, and I'll circle back to why that matters. But I'm the MLA for Burnaby East, and I'm happy to be here with all of you today to hear from you folks, as well as introduce someone really special to me personally. Hermender Singh Kailley is a passionate and unwavering advocate for worker rights, social justice, and anti-racism. He made history in 2022 with his election as the Secretary-Treasurer of the BC Federation of Labour, the first Punjabi Canadian to ever hold this position. And I should say first racialized person ever in the 100+ year history of the BC Fed. His activism and leadership are grounded in his firsthand experiences, his deep commitment to equity, and his strong belief in the power of unity and solidarity. Hermender was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, to Punjabi immigrants. From his earliest years, his parents instilled in him the values of hard work, perseverance, and compassion. A key moment in his life came in grade 3 when he faced racist violence from his peers. As a protective shield from such bigotry, his parents suggested that he adopt the name Herman, a name that he went by for decades. It wasn't until his election in 2022 at the BC Fed Convention that he proudly and publicly reclaimed his full name, Hermender Singh Kailley. It was an act of self-empowerment and a reflection of his commitment to his identity and values. Now, there's a little bit more written here, but I just have to tell this little piece. Before I got elected, I was the director of organizing and campaigns at the BC Federation of Labour. And so I got to witness that exact moment that he reclaimed his name. As a daughter born and raised here to Punjabi immigrants who, as Baljit just mentioned earlier, navigating these sort of pressures of being from here and having our identity sort of shifting in two places really. Seeing that happen in real time is why my name is Rohini now. It's not Ria anymore. Hermender's journey into the labor movement began when he organized his fellow young workers at the Vancouver Fringe Festival into IATSE Local 118 and their bargaining unit. When he pivoted to a career as a longshore worker, several years later, he quickly solidified his reputation as an advocate for fair working conditions, equity, and inclusion through his activism at the ILWU. Hermender joined the executive board in 2018 of Local 502 and became secretary-treasurer a year later. His dedication to building community and championing human rights was recognized by the Labour Council in 2020 when he received the New West and District Labour Council Community Activist Award. Hermender's work as the BC Fed's Sec-Trej has been marked by his strong advocacy for justice and inclusion and his focus on raising the voices of workers from excluded and marginalized communities. He took a leading role in successfully lobbying for provincial anti-racism legislation and convening community conversations with Indigenous and racialized workers to shape the Federation's proposals. He has pushed hard to strengthen protections for workers. With predominantly racialized workforces, such as platform-based gig workers. I am so old, I'm feeling it, I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses and I'm like, where was I? And live-in caregivers. And he serves on the advisory board of the Canadians of South Asian Descent Museum Project. A confirmed believer in the power of mentoring, Hermender invests time regularly in guiding young activists and encouraging them to pursue paths of advocacy and leadership, both one-on-one and through BC Fed initiatives like the Organizing Institute and the Young Workers Leadership Summit. He speaks regularly to union and non-union audiences alike, sharing his story of overcoming racial adversity and reclaiming his name and position as leader. At heart, Hermender is driven by both his unshakable conviction that collective action is the foundation for a just and equitable society, and his vision of a BC where everyone can live as their whole selves, whether in the workplace or the community, and can feel valued and thrive. So it is my honor to invite you up, Hermender Singh Kailley, to accept this award. Okay. Yeah, that's why I'm over here.
Thank you, everyone. And I know we're getting late in the night. I brought some notes. Now, normally this would be about a 30-minute speech, but this is because I'm turning 50 this year. My eyes aren't the way they used to be, so now my font size has increased. So don't worry, it's not a 30-minute speech. I do want to start by acknowledging that we're gathered peacefully today on the traditional and unceded territories of the Semiahmoo, the Cutsey, the Coquitlam, the Coatlan, and the Kakite First Nations. Oh, and the Tawasin First Nations as well. I want to thank Rohini for the introduction. I'm overwhelmed. Friends, thank you so much for this profound honor. Originally, I was told the introduction was going to be by Raj Chauhan, who I have an immense amount of gratitude towards, and I'm so lucky that I have so many friends in the community, and Rohini stepped in last minute, and thank you to Sunita for coming up here for the award presentation. And it means so much to me to be in the company of all the other honorees tonight, the Mamta Foundation of Canada, Paul Binning, Baljit Sangra, Dr. Gotfrit, and Professor Gruben. And it's an honor to be in the same room as you, let alone to share the stage. This is an especially auspicious event celebrating the anniversary of that great day in 1947 when South Asian Canadians won the right to vote and become Canadian citizens. Or maybe I should say won back the right to vote because it was stripped from us 4 decades earlier by the government of Premier Richard McBride, a politician who vocally supported a white BC. It would have been nearly impossible in those years to imagine a day when that law could be reversed. Yet 40 years later, it was, because enough people did imagine. And they fought for that vision, and they won. For me, that's a reminder that change is always possible. No matter how bleak things become, no matter how enormous obstacles appear, change is always possible. What isn't is inevitable. It doesn't happen on its own. People who have amassed wealth and power by taking it from others, those people don't typically just decide one day to give it back. It has to be taken, and the fight to take it might be short and swift or long and tough, but it's always necessary. and just what that fight looks like. Just how can we take that power back? Well, that's one of the longest standing political debates in political history. I would have loved to have had the chance to argue that over with Dr. Harry Sharma, and I do envy those of you that got to. But I know where we'd agree, though, over the power of solidarity to make change. Bringing people together, making common cause, recognizing that an injury to one is an injury to all, and acting on it. People sometimes ask me, why does the labor movement take on issues like racism, sexism, homophobia, gender diversity, and the like? And my answer is very simple. The only power that working people really have lies in solidarity, in standing with each other, for each other. And racism, sexism, discrimination, and hate of all kinds, they work against that solidarity. I believe this to my core. True solidarity lies in letting people live as their true, whole selves. And I've seen it firsthand what happens when they aren't allowed to do that, because it happened to me. And the reason why I want to go through this full speech is I want to tell my story, and it was in the introduction that Rohini gave for me. But I've lived literally decades with part of my identity boxed up and stowed away. It started one day in grade 3 during recess. I was outside when I found myself surrounded by about a dozen of my peers, and they were angry, hurling racial slurs, and some even resorted to physical violence, and all because they had discovered that my parents were immigrants. At that moment, I felt a whirlwind of emotions, surprise, fear, and an innate need to defend myself. The consequences of that defense was a 3-day suspension from school for fighting. When I got back home, my parents gave me a piece of advice that would shape my future. They suggested that I use the name Herman instead of Hermender to avoid becoming the target of further racism. And for many years, that is what I did. I called myself Herman, living under a name that actually felt like a disguise. But in 2022, at the BC Federation of Labor Convention, something extraordinary happened. I was elected as the Secretary-Treasurer, making history as the first person of color to hold this position. It was an emotional occasion, and of course, when you're elected, you get to give an acceptance speech. But my speech turned out not just to be about accepting my election as Secretary-Treasurer, it was also an acceptance of myself. It was a speech where I recognized the labor movement accepting me for who I was. And in that speech, I made a promise to myself and to the world. I reclaimed my name, Hermender Singh Kailley, and declare it that I would use it forever after. Thank you. And I stand before you tonight, Hermender Singh Kailley, the first Punjabi Canadian Secretary-Treasurer of the BC Federation of Labor, an organization that started in 1910 and has not had a racialized leader until 2022. So I say that because we've come a long way, but we've got a lot further to go. And that's something I want everyone to be able to do, to stand before each other as everything that they are. A movement rooted in justice must also be a movement rooted in inclusion. And as hard as things are right now, as downright scary as the headlines can be, I believe we can change them. I believe that we can create a just and equitable world. I dream of a British Columbia where every citizen, regardless of their background, has a fair chance at prosperity. And it starts by ensuring that everyone can bring their whole selves to every aspect of their lives, at work, at school, at home, and in their community. Part of that is ensuring that people can see themselves in the world around them. So often in this province, there's been one story, and it's a story that's firmly grounded in European heritage. And no shade on Europe, but there's many more stories that are waiting to be told in this country. That's one of the reasons I'm so glad to be helping lead the work of creating a museum or center for Canadians of South Asian heritage. Imagine if something like that had been around when we were kids, when we could have seen ourselves reflected in the history and the life of this province and this country. When we could have told stories of our own to our friends and to our community, to each other, It's one of the reasons I'm drawn to the labor movement, because working people have their own stories, and the story of our economy should always put workers at the center. It's one of the reasons I love my work in expanding diversity and representation in the labor movement, so that our leadership at all levels looks a lot more like our membership, the membership that it serves in its entirety. It's why I care so deeply about our work around reconciliation with Indigenous peoples and the First Nations. And it's why it matters so much to me to receive this award named after Dr. Hari Sharma. Dr. Sharma had held strong views that he believed in passionately, but he also understood the power of reaching across sectarian divides of race, of religion, of culture, of politics. His solidarity had him standing with Sikhs in India and Canada during the 1984 pogroms, and that wasn't an easy thing to do. His solidarity had him uniting people from an astonishing array of backgrounds to honor the memory of the Kamagata Maru. And that reminds us that solidarity isn't about sameness. It isn't always about shared perspectives or shared experiences, but it's about shared struggles and the conscious choice to stand together and to keep standing together. April 2nd, 1947 was a milestone, but it wasn't the finish line. In our own ways, from our own perspectives, we're all continuing that struggle started so many years ago. My journey from Herman to Hermender was one leg of that much longer journey. The voyage from fear to empowerment and then to justice is one that we can share together with each other and with the passengers that we invite along the way. And the fact that we share it makes the hardest parts just a little bit easier and make joyous moments like tonight so much sweeter. Of course, I couldn't do any of this work by myself, so I want to thank my team at the BC Federation of Labor, past and present, and also my fellow workers at ILWU. I know we have one member sitting here from the ILWU. That was the union where I really cut my teeth as an activist. My foundation was shaped by my grandparents and my parents, along with my brother and sister and a very supportive extended family. My dad immigrated to Canada with $7 in his pocket in 1969. The thing that kept him here and had the ability for him to bring his family over was he got a job at a mill and became a proud member of the International Woodworkers Association. Soon after, he called my grandfather over, who also became a member of IWA. And then they brought over my dad's younger brother, who was also an IWA member. Later on, my mom, once she had immigrated, she became a proud member of the Hospital Employees Union. My sister is a BC Teachers Federation member. My brother is an HEU member. I have a brother-in-law and a sister-in-law that are also in BCTF. The Union is in my DNA. It's why I'm here. It was people like my dad, Baljit Singh Kailley, who gave me the work ethic. He always said, do your hardest. Always take the right path, not the easy path. And it's because of them, those are really the giants whose shoulders I stand on when I do this work. Most of all, though, I want to thank my rock and my foundation, the person that's made it possible for me to do all of this work. My amazing and beautiful wife, Samantha, who is sitting right in front of me. Samantha has made many sacrifices so that I have the space and support to do the work that I do. Along with our 4 children, Joven, Jaden, Taryn, and Farah, I couldn't ask for a better support team, and they are who make me wake up in the morning and want to go. I don't do this work for myself. I do this work for the future generations. I want my kids to grow up, get into jobs that have all the safeties in place, a living wage, benefit plans, so that when they need it, they have access to great health care that's universal, that is available for anyone in this province, in this country, regardless of how much money they make. It's incumbent on us to leave this world in a better shape than we found it for the future generations. I want to end this by saying thank you all for this honor and everything, and for everything that we share together. Have a great night.
Thank you, Brother Hermender Singh ji, and Sister Rohini for your graciousness. we have come to the very end of the evening. But I would like to express my gratitude to Brother Kansi and his incredible staff who worked in kitchen and here to help us enjoy a beautiful evening of togetherness. I'm grateful also to Brother Abdul Hamid, a Surrey-based artist and a comrade who designed all these beautiful plaques that the worthy recipients received today. I'm very, very thankful to Hamid for not only for doing the job so well, but doing it mostly on a non-profit basis. Before we go, I would like to remind you that if you have imbibed a little too much, just honor Brother Beg who was here earlier and don't drive, take a cab. Don't take Uber or something. They are American companies. Take a cab. And I will leave you with a very short paragraph from a remarkable essay. A Canadian academic and intellectual named Harry Giraud, who teaches at McMaster University, he writes, "This darkness is not without precedent, nor is it without models of resistance." Remember that line. This darkness is not without precedent, nor it is without models of resistance. During the rise of fascism in Europe, teachers and intellectuals in Nazi-occupied France joined the underground, distributing banned literature and teaching forbidden truths in secret classrooms. In apartheid South Africa, students in Soweto sparked a nationwide uprising, defying bullets with the cry that liberation begins with education. In American South, Black freedom fighters risked their lives to build freedom schools, challenge police terror, and reimagine democracy in the face of white supremacy. The Zapatistas in Chiapas created autonomous zones rooted in dignity, justice, and indigenous knowledge. Palestinian writers, youth, freedom fighters, and teachers continue to create under Sage powerful example of resistance, insisting through every poem, every painting, every lesson that their people will not be erased. Their memories will survive. And settler colonialism will not only be relentlessly resisted, but will be defeated. There is no other choice. I wish you all the best as you continue to stay a beautiful life and remain beautiful, and hoping to see you next year. Love you all. Thank you.